For years, Ben Shephard has been regarded as one of Britain's most reliable and charming television presenters. A man who could bring warmth to any living room, whether through his infectious laugh on Good Morning Britain or the tension-filled moments of Tipping Point. Alongside him, his wife Annie Shephard has long represented quiet grace, a woman who, unlike the celebrity spouses who seek the spotlight, has always preferred to stand behind it. Together, they've been viewed as one of television's most stable couples, intelligent, devoted, and unshaken by the pressures of fame. But now, whispers behind closed doors suggest that even the most enduring love stories can face moments of fracture. According to those close to the couple, Ben and Annie's relationship has been tested in ways few imagined, not through scandal or betrayal, but through something far more complex: the cost of success, time, and the quiet loneliness that fame sometimes brings home. Ben and Annie first met in the 1990s, long before morning television fame or red carpet appearances. He was a young, ambitious journalist trying to make a name for himself on GMTV, and she was pursuing her own career in the corporate world, focused, private, and uninterested in the noise of celebrity culture. From the start, their connection was easy. Friends recall how Ben used to speak about Annie with a mix of pride and awe, describing her as the anchor that keeps everything steady. As Ben's career began to climb, with stints on The Extra Factor, Ninja Warrior UK, and his beloved Tipping Point, Annie remained the grounding force in his life. While many in the entertainment industry struggled to balance fame with family, the Shephards made it look effortless. At charity galas and awards evenings, Ben would often be seen glancing at Annie in the audience with that unmistakable warmth that said everything words couldn't. To the public, they were perfection, a couple that quietly defied the odds of showbiz. But, as those close to them would later reveal, perfection has its price. As Ben's presence on ITV continued to grow, so too did his responsibilities. Early morning call times, late-night rehearsals, endless press tours. Television, as glamorous as it may appear, rarely leaves space for rest. Ben's life became a blur, someone inside revealed. He was filming Tipping Point in Bristol for weeks on end, then rushing back to London for Good Morning Britain. Annie was always understanding, but there's only so long you can live in the shadow of someone else's schedule. Annie, by contrast, had built a quieter, steadier career of her own, managing work, home, and their two sons, Sam and Jack. She was the one keeping the family rhythm alive when Ben's world spun too fast. But soon, that rhythm began to falter. Ben's television commitment started to collide with the family's private needs. According to friends, Annie had begun expressing concern that the man she married, the man who once insisted family came first, was slowly being consumed by the very fame he once approached with humility. It wasn't a fight, the source explained softly. It was more like a quiet drifting. They both wanted the same thing, to protect their family, but their paths toward that goal started pulling in different directions. The first signs of strain reportedly appeared in early 2024. While filming Tipping Point Lucky Stars, Ben missed a family milestone, a weekend that Annie had planned for months to celebrate their son's birthday. According to those close to the family, it wasn't the missed event that hurt Annie most. It was the fact that Ben didn't seem to realize how much it mattered. When he returned home, tired and full of apologies, the mood was distant. Friends describe Annie as gracious but withdrawn, while Ben, ever the optimist, believed it was just a phase. But weeks later, tensions deepened when Annie reportedly declined to attend an ITV event where Ben was to be honored for his 2 decades on television. Publicly, she cited family commitments. Privately, insiders claimed the reason was more emotional. She didn't want to play the role of the perfect wife for cameras anymore. Annie's always loved Ben, but she wanted him to see her, not just the supportive figure behind his career, but a partner with her own voice.
And then came the night that many describe as the quiet breaking point. At a charity dinner in London, Ben was seen arriving alone. The event's photographers captured a polished, smiling Ben posing for pictures, but those who saw him later that evening said his warmth was replaced by a kind of weary silence. He reportedly left early, turning down after-party invitations and heading home. Whether that evening marked the true beginning of their emotional distance or simply revealed it to the world remains unclear. Those close to Ben say that the months that followed were some of the most difficult of his life. Away from the cameras, the TV favorite who brought joy to millions was struggling to reconnect with the woman who had once been his safe harbor. He began making small gestures, taking time off filming, arranging private weekends away, even attempting digital detoxes, but the balance between fame and family proved harder to restore than expected. While Annie, ever composed, began retreating further from public life. While she'd always preferred privacy, friends noticed that she had stopped attending any events altogether. She wasn't angry, a family acquaintance shared. She was just tired. Tired of being the quiet one, tired of the spotlight only ever shining one way. Rumors began swirling among ITV circles, whispers of distance, of separate living arrangements, but nothing ever confirmed. Ben, ever the professional, carried on. His smile remained, but his interviews began revealing subtle cracks. When asked in a 2024 radio interview about balancing work and family, Ben paused longer than usual before replying, "It's a constant juggle. You think you've got it right, then something happens that reminds you what really matters. I'm still learning. I think we all are." Annie and Ben's marriage has always thrived on communication, quiet evenings, shared laughter, mutual respect. But sometimes, as one family friend noted, it's not anger that breaks people apart, it's silence. Ben thought if he worked harder, it would fix things. Annie thought if she stayed quiet, it would give him space. They both meant well, but the silence just grew louder. Their sons, now grown, reportedly noticed the shift too. One insider shared that the family dinners that once overflowed with laughter had become more restrained, filled with polite conversation, but little warmth. Ben's close friends, including a few colleagues from This Morning and Good Morning Britain, urged him to slow down. But with multiple ongoing projects, stepping away wasn't simple. For the first time, the man known for holding others together was struggling to hold himself together. By mid-2024, fans began noticing subtle differences. Ben appeared more subdued on screen, still kind, still professional, but lacking the sparkle that had always set him apart. Social media comments reflected this change. "Ben looks tired lately," one viewer wrote. Another asked, "Is everything okay with Ben? He doesn't seem himself." Those close to him insist he was simply juggling too much, but some within ITV quietly acknowledged that Ben's personal life was weighing heavily on him. Behind the scenes, producers reportedly offered to lighten his workload, but Ben refused. He didn't want pity. He wanted to prove he could manage it all. Yet even the strongest hearts can only stretch so far. In late summer 2024, reports began to circulate that Ben had quietly stepped back from several off-screen commitments, choosing instead to spend more time with family. He was seen taking long walks along the River Thames with Annie. No cameras, no entourage, just two people trying to find their rhythm again. A close family friend described the change beautifully. "They're not the couple they were 20 years ago, and that's okay. They're two people who've lived a lot of life together, trying to meet again in the middle." However, not everyone believes the calm exterior tells the full story. According to one insider, Ben and Annie have been discussing what the next chapter of their marriage should look like, whether that's a quieter life away from television or simply more boundaries between work and home. What makes Ben and Annie's story so moving isn't scandal or betrayal. It's humanity. It's two people who for decades built a life out of love and respect, suddenly realizing that time and success had quietly built walls between them. Friends say that Ben in recent months has become more reflective than ever. He's been asking big questions about legacy, about purpose, about what really matters. It's not about career anymore. It's about connection. Annie, meanwhile, has found strength in rediscovering her independence. She's taken on new community projects and quietly reconnected with friends she hadn't seen in years. They're both growing, a close family source said, but sometimes growth doesn't always happen together. It's hard, but it's real. In September 2024, Ben was invited to speak at a mental health awareness event for television professionals, an event he almost turned down. But on that stage,